Hey everyone, it's Ryan here. So this is the Premier League Game Week 6 review. By the looks of it, I've watched like most of the highlights for this. I personally didn't have a great week when it came to the fantasy football for both the apps I use. I use the Premier League app, like the Fantasy Premier League app, and then I also do a Sky Sports one. And yeah, in both of them, I didn't do too well. I think I did better in the Fantasy Premier League one, just because I captained Son in that one. But yeah, compared to the previous weeks, it was a very low scoring weekend. It's sort of gone standard to how it used to be before, where there'd only be like 2 or 3 goals in the game. Rather than just having like 6 or 7, like especially after last week's lot. So I'm going to go through the games with. So it went across over 4 days. There was only the one game on Friday, Aston Villa versus Leeds, and Leeds beat Aston Villa 3-0, which is surprising considering Aston Villa did just beat Liverpool the week prior 7-2. So again, this season's unpredictable, which it's fun. Like it's nice to see that just because one team dominates another team one week doesn't mean that they'll like lose or anything the following week. So it's hard to tell who's going to have like the, I guess like outstanding season, like exceptional season for their squad. Like I'll say Everton and Aston Villa were like under before this weekend. I think we're the only unbeaten teams. I think Liverpool might have been as well, to be honest. I think Liverpool. Oh no, sorry, Liverpool. Of course, yeah, Liverpool got beat by Aston Villa last week. But yeah, I think going into this weekend, the only teams that hadn't lost were Everton and Aston Villa. But that's not the case now. Patrick Bamford managed to get a hat-trick for them. Some really good goals. I had Martinez in goal, and I was kind of annoyed because obviously with it going 3-0 down on Sky Sports when it's -2. So basically, the goalkeeper / defender, they lose a point if they let 2 goals in, and then it's an extra -point for each goal. So basically, he would have lost the 2 points. So basically, I would have got nothing for him. But luckily, he had a saves tier, so I actually got some points out of him, which was nice. But yeah, fair play to Leeds. I think it's their second win this season. And yeah, they seem to be doing very well for themselves. Going on to Saturday, West Ham versus Man City. It was 1-1. Antonio scored a lovely overhead kick to get West Ham in the lead. Then Man City came back to equalise in the second half. Like I said, not much to go on about that match. It was only 1-1, so that's pretty much what you need to know. Fulham versus Crystal Palace ended 2-1 to Crystal Palace. Zaha, obviously again for Crystal Palace, doing very well. Scored a goal, got an assist. Fulham managed to get one back late on, but it was a bit too late to get another goal. And then I can't remember which player it was, but he managed to get himself sent off after coming on like 10 minutes later because he basically just went in for like a really rough tackle, which at the end of the day wasn't worth doing. Liverpool versus Sheffield United. Oh, sorry, I missed one. Well, the reason I missed it is because it was very not eventful but eventless. Man United versus Chelsea 0-0. I think it's the very first 0-0 of the season. There might have been one last week. I forgot, but this one was 0-0. Yeah, just not an interesting game from what I saw. The biggest talking point was Harry Maguire essentially wrestled, I think it was Azpilicueta to the ground, and they somehow didn't get a penalty. Even as a United fan, looking at that, I was like, I don't know how Chelsea didn't get the penalty for that. He literally grabs him and like pulls him down whilst they're trying to jump for a cross. It's just another issue with the VAR referees just not checking the right things. Whether they're just confused by what the rules are or some new rules and regulations, it's just not working. And like I said, that should have been a penalty for Chelsea. But yeah, 0-0. Nothing interesting. I think there's a thing where it's like Chelsea's forward 3 cost them £160 million, and it might have been 160 million euros. I think I just read it on Instagram somewhere, but essentially it cost them 160 million euros, I guess, and they can't even score against a team that's conceded 12 this season. which kind of shows just in some teams money doesn't equal success. Obviously, it worked for Man City. But yeah, for Chelsea, it's like to spend that much on players and they can't, get the results. I think Chelsea have had a really bad record when it comes to big signings. Obviously, Kepa being the biggest one. That's one thing I can talk about. Mendy, the new goalkeeper got in, had a really good show. I don't think he got man of the match, which I think he should have. Like, he had some really good saves in that match from the highlights that I watched. And yeah, like I said, Kepa was like £73 million for them, and he's literally going like error after error. Sort of like De Gea levels. I think De Gea obviously was in goal for this one. He should have done all right, considering that he didn't let any in. But like, it got to the point last season where De Gea kept making multiple mistakes, and Kepa's basically doing that on a more frequent basis. I think already this season he's had like 3 errors, which is probably why they're not playing him anymore. Next match, Liverpool versus Sheffield United. Liverpool won 2-1. I think Sheffield United got a penalty early, and then Liverpool managed to get 2 goals back. I know Jota scored again for them. So whether he gets more play time now, because he's actually doing well for himself, who knows. On to Sunday. Southampton beat Everton 2-0 to end the unbeaten season for Everton. So both Aston Villa and Everton lost, so they're no longer undefeated this season. Not a good Everton display. Like, whenever they get a shot on goal, it was a very weak shot straight at the keeper. Like, nothing really worried the Southampton goalkeeper. Southampton had some very good goals. I think Ings assisted both of them. I think Shea Adams got one, and then I think Ward-Prowse got the other. But yeah, and then annoyingly for me, on my Sky Sports one, I had Digne in defence, and he got sent off. So I've replaced him with Lamptey for Brighton, who played on Monday. Like I said, Everton lost. Obviously, they don't have Richarlison. I think he'll be back next week. They now don't have Digne in defence. Rodriguez might be injured. Like, there's some injury worries before the last weekend. But he started to play, and now the injuries have popped up again. So whether he plays next week, I don't know. I think it's the issue I had like on my Sky Sports one. Literally all my midfield had like exclamation points of like potential chance of not playing. So I had like Antonio had a problem, Willian had a problem, Rodriguez having a problem. I think there was one midfielder, but I forgot who it is. I think it was Bruno Fernandes. I think at one point he had a problem as well, but it was fine. But yeah, and then like the only one that didn't play was Willian against Leicester, which I'll get to in a minute. So yeah, Everton fortunately lost. Aston Villa also lost. Liverpool, because they won, they're now up to second. They're 1 point behind Everton. I think they're equal with Aston Villa. I think Aston Villa still have a game in hand as well. Next match, Wolves versus Newcastle. I think Jimenez scored for Wolves again, so he's doing very well for themselves. Newcastle scored with a late free kick. It was a very clever free kick. Went around the wall, but in a sort of unexpected way, clipped the post and it went in. Caught Rui Patricio off guard. Next match, Arsenal versus Leicester. Arsenal had a claim, like a goal disallowed, and I think a lot of people complaining about it being disallowed, but I think from what I've seen on the replay, it's the fact that Xhaka is stood directly in front of Schmeichel, so in a way he's impeding him from being able to make the save. Like, there wasn't an offside claim. I think it was just an impeding of the goalkeeper, so he wouldn't be able to see the ball, he wouldn't be able to get to it because he's got an opposing player in the way. Cut to the 80th minute, Vardy comes on as a substitute and scores a late goal for them. Under got his first assist of the season. I think it was his first game for Leicester. So it's a good start for him. Him and Castagna hopefully are going to be good signings for Leicester. Castagna's already proved that he's done quite well for himself. Obviously scored in his debut. He's got an assist for like a few assists this season already. So yeah, another win for Leicester, back on track. Arsenal unfortunately did lose again. So like I wouldn't put it down to defensive woes. It could possibly be. Apparently Mustafi might be on his way out, but I don't think Arsenal fans are complaining too much. I think Gabriel should hopefully improve the back lot. You got Gabriel and David Luiz is like a Brazilian connection. And then finally, 2 matches that happened yesterday, because I'm recording this on Tuesday. Brighton versus West Brom. Lamptey crosses the ball in, and just from watching the highlights for it, you have to see it for yourself, just for the calamity that was the West Brom defence. I think he crossed it, it hit a West Brom player on the foot, went across the goal. Ivanovic then tried to, I guess, clear it over the line or something, and he kicked it directly into a West Brom player 2 feet next to him, and it went in the back of the net. Unfortunately, it doesn't count as a Lamptey assist, so I didn't get any bonus points from then. He then got booked, which didn't help me. And then they went to... And then West Brom managed to get a late equaliser, so that was 1-1. But yeah, and then, like I said, Brighton, West Brom. I think it's West Brom's first point of the season. Oh no, it's their second point, sorry, because I forgot they drew with Chelsea a couple of weeks back. Yeah, just what you expect, I guess. To go on with the whole Sky Sports box office thing, that's obviously an issue. Like £14.95 is a bit much, especially for one match. I think Brighton West Brom was one of those. I don't think they're picking the right matches that should be box office. Like, it has to be the big ones. And yeah, I'm hoping they get rid of it. I hope they realise it was a stupid move on their behalf. It's just them wanting more money out of people, and I think it's going to come back to bite them. Like, people might just not people would just essentially find illegal streams to watch it on. And the final match, Burnley versus Tottenham. There was only 1 goal in this. Again, Son scored with a Kane assist. Not as but considering Tottenham's past couple of matches where they beat Man U 6-1, and then they were 3-0 up after 20 minutes and then ended up drawing 3-3 in the last 10 minutes. This was just again, like, with it being a 1-goal game, there's not much to talk about in it. So yeah, that's pretty much what the weekend for the football is. I'll get the table up, but like I said, it felt like what a standard weekend of football would be. It literally maximum 3 goals a game. Biggest result was 3-0. You had a 0-0, a few 2-1s, 2-0, 1-1, 1-0. Like, there was nothing outlandish like we've had the past few weeks. There's been no 4-3s, unfortunately. No 6-1s, no 7-2s, no 5-0s, no 6-0s. It was just a very tamed weekend. I'm hoping it's... Well, I'm not obviously hoping it's a one-off, but... Because obviously in football we want a lot of goals. But yeah, it feels like they've got back into the groove of a Premier League season. So, like I said, I'm hoping next week isn't more of the same. Like, it was nice that almost every game had goals in them, but you sort of want more than just 1 for each team. So, for the table, first place is Everton with 13 points. Liverpool have also got 13 points, but Everton had the better goal difference. Aston Villa and Leicester are tied for third, I guess, with 12. Having played... Well, Aston Villa still have a game in hand, but they both won 4 and then lost the other games. Aston Villa have a 2-goal difference over them. Tottenham are 5th with 11. Leeds are 6th with 10. Southampton to Crystal Palace and Wolves also have 10. So they're doing very well for themselves. Chelsea and Arsenal both have 9 points in 10th and 11th. West Ham, Manchester City, Newcastle are 12th, 13th and 14th. Man U are 15th with 7. Brighton are 16th with 5. West Brom are 17th with 3. Burnley, Sheffield United and Fulham only have 1 point. Which obviously isn't good luck for them. Like I said, I think Fulham are definitely going to go down. I generally thought Aston Villa would have been at the bottom of the table, considering that they just lucked out last season. But with all the new signings, it's gone to prove quite the opposite. They're actually a lot further up the table than down the table. But yeah, that's pretty much the Game Week 6 for you. Thank you for watching this video if you did. I'll say back next week with Game Week 7. Also, if any other football news possibly comes up. Do do watch some of my other stuff as well. I do more than football. It's normally like video games, wrestling. I was going to try and get back into streaming, but I can't get, like, obviously Mixer doesn't work anymore on Xbox, and the Twitch app is a pain in the arse, so I can't get that to work. I don't really want to buy any like recording equipment because like I don't do it on a full-time basis to what's the word for it? Sort of like, to vouch for the payment essentially. Like, if I'm going to buy something like that, I want to be able to do it a lot, and unfortunately I won't have time to. Anyway, that's pretty much a review for Game Week 6. In terms of goals, not as exciting as it has been. Maybe a return to normality, who knows? And we'll see what happens next week in Game Week 7. But again, thank you for watching. I shall hopefully see you in the next one.